Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon for the people joining us from Europe. My name is Silvia Soragni, and I'm the category manager for savory ingredients, a segment of Lalman Bioingredients. And I'm focusing on our strategic portfolio development and marketing activities. I am very pleased to be here today together with my colleagues. As a team, we work closely across markets and disciplines to support the growing demand for sustainable and clean label ingredients. In this session, we'll present in detail the features and benefits of our recent innovation, Engevita HiPRO Beyond. But before diving into the main content of the webinar, let me share a few practical points. We are presenting live, so bear with us if the sound isn't always perfect. I have bells outside at the moment. If you have connection experience, don't worry, this session is being recorded. You will receive the recording approximately a couple of hours after the event is concluded, and we will be sharing a slide deck that will be available via Touch and Sell. This session will last about 1 hour. In the first part, we are going to present you information regarding the protein market and our product. And the second part will be interactive with time dedicated to your questions. Please feel free to take notes and to ask your questions when it is the time of Q&A. If we don't have every time to answer everything live, you can always send us your thoughts or your questions at info@bio-lalman.com, and we will make sure that you receive a written reply. A note, during the Q&A, there is the possibility to ask questions in anonymous way, but in this case, we will not be able to track the question afterwards. So if your question is not answered during the live event and you asked for in anonymous way, please send us the question again so we can know who was the person asking that specific question. So I'd like to present other speakers joining me today, as well as our session coordinator. So we have Lynn with us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Lynn. I work for Lalman for over 4 years, and I work closely with our colleagues and our clients to find the best ways to use our products.
And Bob as well is joining us today.
Hello, everyone. So I'm the Global Sales Director. I am sort of the bridge between our sales team and our commercial team and everything else that goes on. And we're just so happy that you've taken the time out of your day to join us today. So looking forward to giving you a little bit more information in the next few minutes.
Thank you, Bob. And last but not least, Vilma, the person that makes this event possible.
Thanks, Silvia. So welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Vilma, and I'm marketing coordinator for Lalman Bioingredients, and I'm based in France, and I'm working in Lalman for almost 20 years now. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy this webinar with us today.
Thank you. And it's the right time now to zoom in the main subject of today's webinar, which is protein. Let's have a look to the protein global landscape. By 2050, we are expecting to be nearly 10 billion people on this planet, and that's a lot of mouth to feed. And even more importantly, a lot of nutritional needs to be met. One of the biggest challenges we face is the protein gap, the growing divide between the protein we produce today and what we will need tomorrow. This isn't just about supply issue. I think it's a call to rethink how source, process, and deliver protein to a rapidly changing world. Across the globe, we have seen a surge of interest in plant-based protein, soy, pea, wheat, and others. These ingredients are being used in everything from snacks to meat alternatives, driven by consumer demand for healthier and more sustainable options. But despite their popularity, these proteins come with shared limitation, allergenicity, incomplete nutritional profile, anti-nutritional factors, multiple processing steps, and depending on the region, GMO concerns, uh, taste and sensory challenges, which is very important when we think about how to appeal consumers. And those issues are not confined. This is global. And they highlight the need for next generation protein that are nutrition, sustainable, and enjoyable to eat. Staying away at the moment from our solution, I think it's interesting to see and to highlight that there is a growing demand on high protein food. The protein continue to shape consumer choices, and particularly in North America, protein is strongly linked to satiety, health, convenience, and this association make it a powerful driver across many food and drink categories. High protein claims are widely spread in different type of application, from snack bars to nutritional drinks, to dairy products, to cereals, salty snacks, meat and meat substitute, and plant-based drink. This shows how versatile protein becomes as a range in product development. In this specific slide, we have an highlight on Mintel regarding pasta, rice, and noodles. This is not a category where we often see high protein claim, but we have a trend popping in since a few years. And after a period of stagnation, the high protein claims also in this category is ramping up. And we also noticed that there is a connection with low carb claims emerging and weight management. So how to say, the health related claims are key in the development of the market. At the bottom of the same slide, you can see some product examples. High protein cheese slice from UK and high protein nacho chips from the US. These illustrate how protein is not only a feature for traditional food like dairy, but also increasingly used in indulgent snacks. The takeaway is clear: high protein, high fiber remains strong growth drivers, and there are still untapped potentials in linking protein with satiety and energy support. If we look at the market, the consumers, and how this is segmented, we see that in many regions, the younger consumer, especially those aged between 16 and 24, are leading the change when it comes to prioritizing high protein food. But interestingly, older consumer who may benefit from increased protein intake are much less engaged. This represents, in my view, a global opportunity, an interesting one. How can we adapt the product and make them more appealing also to seniors? Whether through tailored formats, clearer messaging, or functional benefit, there is a lot of room of growth, especially in markets with aging populations. Let's look a little bit again now into how protein perception is evolving, and from a specialized type of ingredient, like for athletes or sport nutrition, medical diets, to a daily nutritional staple for a much broader audience. Traditionally, protein-rich foods were associated with sport, clinical application, weight loss programs, but today we see a clear shift. Consumers are looking for everyday food that support energy, satiety, and overall wellness, not just in case of performative events. In the US, for example, 50% of millennial snackers say that protein is a key feature when they are looking for healthy snacks. And there is another layer to this story, the rise of GLP-1 medication for weight management. These drugs are changing how people eat, reducing appetite, altering portion sizes, and increasing the need for nutrient-dense food that deliver more in a smaller bite. In the US alone, 12% of the adult population is currently managing their weight using GLP-1 type of drugs, and another 12% have used them in the past. 21% express an interest. This growing segment has specific nutritional needs. They are looking for food that is high in protein and fiber, low in sugar and fat, easy to digest, all in small portions that align with their reduced appetite. For food producers, this is a powerful opportunity to rethink how we formulate and position protein-rich products, not just as functional, but like components, essential one of everyday eating. And with that, I will pass the micro to Bob, who will guide us deeper into how we are addressing those challenges and what is L'Allemand Bioingredient solution to that. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Sylvia. So what a wonderful setup to now shift the conversation into why yeast, right? So I think, Sylvia did a very good job of helping us understand the need, both from a global perspective and from a market perspective, right? There is a business opportunity here. And the question now is, what role can we play? So when we look at the history of yeast as an ingredient in food, protein has always been a part of the story. You can, look up on Wikipedia the very early days of yeast being used to feed cattle post World War II and all sorts of applications. What's happened over time and very recently is we've gotten much better at taking advantage of the yeast that is naturally there and that's available in this well-known and trusted ingredient. So we now have something that we can bring forward, which is an ingredient that is around 80% 80% protein by weight, and a very complex and very beneficial source of protein. The base ingredient hasn't changed. It's the same baker's yeast that we've been using in yeast extract for a long period of time. The advantages of manufacturing it haven't changed, right? It is a closed circular system. What I mean by this closed system is we have the ability to grow this category, to scale up, to produce more and more protein for human consumption without taking over massive amounts of land, without massive infrastructure, right? It can happen within our existing environment. As the market grows, we add another fermenter, we add some more tanks, we add some more pipes and pumps. We're not talking clear cutting of massive amounts of land to keep feeding our ever-growing population. The other word or phrase that comes into play here is that clean label phrase, the phrase without a definition. We know that consumers in general are very comfortable with yeast extract, yeast protein, on an ingredient list. So it becomes a great way to introduce this into the supply chain. Now, what are we? What is our product? We finally get to talk about this a little bit more. And really, for the first time in today's presentation, we talk about Engevita HiPRO Beyond. So this is really what we're bringing into the market as one of the solutions in this space. And I mentioned earlier the 80% protein by weight. So that's a very, very important piece, right? It's a very concentrated form of yeast, form of protein. It is yeast, clearly, but it's a concentrated form of protein. The acceptance piece starts coming in, not just around, as I mentioned earlier, that consumers accept it, but from a nutritional profile perspective, it contains all of the essential amino acids. And this is a very important piece of information as people are developing high protein products. They want the proteins that our body is craving and needing to rebuild muscle. when you look at our amino acid score, and that's information that we're happy to share with you, very close to milk protein, animal protein. It has a PDCAAS score of 1, so this is about sort of the bioavailability of the protein to us and the digestibility. So not only are we just adding protein for the sake of adding it, but we're adding very high quality protein. When it comes to formulation, Lynn's going to talk a little bit more about this in some more detail, but the product itself is very neutral in taste, very neutral in smell. So if you are, whether you're starting on a brand new product formulation or you're reformulating an existing product, a lot of the barriers that have been around some alternative sources of protein in the past have been removed about having to deal with off notes, off aromas, flavors, bitterness, grassiness. All of these words that have become part of the industry really become almost a non-existent topic when we're looking at Engevita HiPRO Beyond. From a regulatory status perspective, this falls into a lot of the same categorizations and certifications as our offerings overall. It's gluten-free, it is completely plant-based, it is clean label, again, that phrase that is important, but I always put it in air quotes, GMO-free, kosher certification, halal, non-GMO. So again, removing a lot of those barriers, making it very easy to bring it into your formulations. We talk about it being non-functional, and I always put a little bit of an asterisk beside it. When we're talking about non-functional, we're talking about the non-functional aspect directly in the formulation. So this is meaning that it's not going to gel, it's not going to foam, it's not going to thicken. It's going to have very, very little impact on the processing of your product moving forward. Again, making it very easy to contribute into a formula, and a little bit more detail again coming on that in a couple of minutes. I mentioned the amino acid score, and I know this is a little bit of an eye test, but as Sylvia mentioned, you will get this presentation after today. You can see sort of where it scores. You look at that total protein content versus egg versus milk, and the score really is quite remarkable. And when you look at the amino acids that make up human muscle, you can see why that score is very important, because when we're rebuilding muscle, those are the amino acids that our body is craving and that are going to regenerate and heal muscle the quickest, right? So it is that quality piece. Lower on the list, you'll see some of the other plant-based isolates that are used, and you can really look at sort of the comparative score, not just as far as the total protein content, but again, looking in a little bit more detail about the amino acids and where some of the gaps are in that space. So at this point, this is where I'm going to turn it over to our colleague Lynn, and she can sort of dive into that greater amount of detail that I mentioned.
Thank you, Bob. So now that we have introduced yeast protein and its key characteristic, let's shift our focus to what really matters from a formulation standpoint, how it performs in actual applications. As Silva introduced, with consumers' demand for high-protein products continue to grow across nearly every category, from beverages and snacks to plant-based meal, product developers are increasingly tasked to find better ways to incorporate protein into a wide range of formulations. Traditionally, this has meant working with protein powders such as soy, pea, and whey. While each of those has its strengths, they often come with formulation challenges. Soy can raise allergen concerns and has a strong beany flavor. Pea protein often struggle with solubility and can contribute to the grittiness in the mouthfeel. And whey, while highly functional, but it's animal derived and not suitable for vegan or dairy-free products. Additionally, some proteins can present challenges during mechanical processing due to the poor dispersibility or maybe not heat stable in certain applications. For example, the protein that would gel or coagulate at high temperature can be problematic in clear or heat-treated beverages, while smooth, stable texture is critical. These constraints have opened the door for alternative protein like yeast protein, which offers a clean label, neutral taste, and versatile uses across a wide range of application. With Engevita HiPRO Beyond, we can tackle many of the sad challenges formulators face when developing products richer in protein. I like to break this down into three key highlights that makes HiPRO Beyond especially valuable in product developing. First, it has a very neutral taste. Thanks to our proprietary technology, we're able to reduce inert taste of Saccharomyces cerevisiae to the minimum, which means you don't have to worry about off notes or you have to find the perfect masking agent, whether you're working on savory or sweet applications. Second, it's highly dispersible, so it blends easily into both dry and liquid formulation without clumping or requiring extra processing steps. And last but not least, it's a non-functional protein, which might sound technical, but it simply means it won't gel, form, or thicken, which gives you control, much more control over texture and consistency in your final product. Next, I will elaborate in more details with some application examples. Let's talk pasta, something simple, familiar, and a kitchen staple for many people. Now imagine trying to boost its protein content with how bland the taste is on its own and a tight expectation of what it should taste like. Most commercial solutions of protein fortified pasta relies on the solution of blended different legume-based proteins, which often comes with a catch that it smells and it tastes like a bowl of beans in front of you rather than a good old pasta, which compromise the eating experience. But with Engevita HiPRO Beyond, we found a better way to deliver this. In this example, we're able to significantly increase the protein content in dry pasta. We're able to increase the protein content by 50% easily and even resulted in better integrity. Even at higher inclusion levels, the texture remained pleasantly chewy and the taste stayed clean. There's no masking agent needed. That is a clear demonstration of how HiPRO Beyond allows formulators to push nutritional boundaries without sacrificing consumer satisfaction. And now let's look at a simple but powerful demonstration. So there are two beakers with water and two yeast proteins were added. As you can see on the left, HiPRO Beyond were wetted effortlessly without any stirring or shaking. On the right, another commercial yeast protein, it didn't integrate much into the liquid matrix. So compared to other proteins in the same alternative protein field, no allergen protein field as well, which often comes with challenges of clumping, foaming, and unwanted texture change. To best showcase this property, we developed together with our partner ICL a chocolate hazelnut caramel protein shake. This isn't just a concept, it's a recipe that comes with rich, velvety beverage that delivers 11% protein with excellent mouthfeel and flavor balance. If we compare it with the market standard, in the comparison, our shake delivers 11% protein, which translates to 36.3 grams in a 330 milliliter serving. That's almost 1.5 times more than typical dairy or plant-based protein shake. What's remarkable in this is that we achieve this without delivering a drink that's too thick, tastes beany, or very chalky. That For the next example, we showcase one of the most exciting aspects of Engevita HiPRO Beyond, which is how well it plays with other proteins. In this example, we've combined HiPRO Beyond with microprotein and wheat gluten to create a formulation that not only delivers the structure, but also we double the Engevita HiPRO we double the protein by use of Engevita HiPRO Beyond, and to a point that 30% of the calorie comes from our protein. And this helps great in recipes where the formulator would like to have the tool to manage the texture and protein content separately, which gives much more room for flexibility and creativity when creating new products. Now let's look at the different type of products spread. We used Engevita HiPRO Beyond to formulate a baba ganoush style hummus. This is a perfect example that takes advantage of all three key highlights of our yeast protein. It doesn't introduce off flavor. It does disperse well with very little free water, as you can see in this recipe, and it doesn't impact the texture of the spread. So to wrap up the application section by highlighting one of the HiPRO Beyond's greatest strengths is its versatility. Whether you're working with non-dairy beverages or plant-based cheese, soups and sauces, snack seasoning, bread, and so much more, HiPRO Beyond integrates smoothly and reliably. And this kind of flexibility is rare in protein ingredients. Many alternatives require formulations, trade-offs, or complex processing adjustment. But with HiPRO Beyond, you get a clean label, high protein solution that works across categories without compromising taste, texture, or stability. It's a true enabler of innovation, giving formulators the freedom to explore new formats and meet evolving consumer demands. Now I will pass it back to Sylvia.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Let me re-pop up on the screen of our audience and go to like the time we have thought to dedicate to the questions. So there is in your screen as audience a tab where you can find the Q&A and you can type in the question. We didn't think to have the possibility for the audience to speak, but to simplify interactions, you can type in your questions, and we will pass the question to one of the people here today. And if we are not able to answer directly today because it's very specific on certain subjects, we can come back to you later. So as mentioned earlier, if you prefer to remain anonymous, there is an option available. And we are looking forward hearing from you. Basically, let's see if we start to have questions. It usually takes a little bit because you need the time to digest all the information that we have passed to you, especially in the application presentation. And maybe you have an application you have been working to with Engevita HiPRO Beyond, and you have some questions related to that, or you are curious. By the way, we have samples available if you wish to have samples. Don't hesitate to ask to the sales manager of your region, or if you are a new contact for us, you can direct your request to info@bio-lalman.com, and we will be very happy to distribute the request to the local sales manager.
Sylvia, if I may,
Yes.
just while giving everyone a chance, the aspect I will address, which may be a question that's in the back of some of the participants' minds, is where we're at from a scalability perspective. So this is an exciting new product. And when something's new, you can imagine that as a business, we haven't filled warehouses across the globe with the product. So we would need to work closely with any partners that are looking at developing on, making sure that we forecast, that we manufacture. Not terribly different than any other product in our portfolio. If you call tomorrow for, unexpected volume, it's usually a little bit of a challenge. So the product is commercialized. We're making it. We have product being sold on a regular basis in some parts of the world. So it is readily available. But I just want to make sure we set expectations that, clearly don't call us tomorrow and ask for a container the next week. While that would be an exciting phone call, we do need time to make sure that we're building our supply chain and we're working with anyone who is looking to commercialize. As Sylvia mentioned, samples and product being available for trial, no problem at all. That we can react to very, very quickly.
Yeah. Some new projects are already served. We have a customer globally. It's just, okay, from 0 to 1 container. It will take us some lead time, but not impossible. So indeed, this was one of the questions that came in regarding the availability for sales. And I think Bob expressed the situation really clearly. Let me see if, at the moment, we don't have more questions. And I don't know, Bob, if you would like to introduce a little bit, like a summary, maybe to give our audience more time to reflect on questions.
Yeah. I mean, I think, if I'm not sure who has control right now, but if you want to jump ahead to the next slide and we can come back, I think an important part here is Sylvia shared a lot of information at the beginning about the global need. And I think an important comment here is we see ourselves as part of the global solution. There is no one solution which is going to solve everybody's problem. And we're not so optimistic to think that we have found the one perfect product. But we do know that in some cases, if there are sort of key criteria that a producer is looking for, this is a really, really good alternative. So, if someone's just looking to bump their numbers, there's absolutely options out there. And if, some of the challenges that Lynn discussed aren't a concern, this might not be the perfect solution. But for that situation where someone's looking for a very high quality protein, they want to meet this global demand, and they're looking for the ease of accessibility of adding this into an existing formula. This is where Engevita HiPRO Beyond becomes a very, very interesting solution. And as Sylvia mentioned, we do have some products which have been launched into the market globally because it checked all of those boxes. And in some cases, we have customers who have been quite excited that they've sort of been waiting for this type of a solution where we've removed some of those barriers to entry. So it really does require a conversation. It requires understanding what's important to the product development team, the marketing team, and everybody sort of across the board. But it is definitely one of the solutions that we see fitting well in the market globally.
Thank you, Bob. And we start to have a question coming in. I see also someone from the audience is raising the hand. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give you the word and to speak with us, but you can type your question in the Q&A. It should be, or at least for me, in my screen is at the upper part of the screen, Q&A, 2 small balloons. So question for Lynn. do we have experience or formulations of sauces with high protein within our library?
Yes, of course. It's not in the presentation that we've shared today, but we've been using HiPRO Beyond in different soups and sauces to increase the protein content. And it works really well.
So maybe because the question comes in an anonymous form, if this person would like to have more details, maybe can connect with us later. So as you mentioned, Lynn, we have some recipes available we can maybe share, if not already published on our website, where it's possible to find the recipes of the demos we develop for our customer or events or exhibitions. We usually save them in on our website. Another question that I would direct to you as well, Lynn, is related to the flavor aspect of Engevita HiPRO Beyond. Does Engevita HiPRO Beyond give umami notes at higher dosages, or it's completely blend?
It's blend. We do have other products in our portfolio that gives umami notes, but this product its characteristic is really to be neutral and to be at higher dosage without compromising the existing taste of the formulation.
And again, for you, Lynn, when we use it in cooked foods, does it lose its properties when heating or when it's heated?
No, this product is heat stable.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a comment regarding the protein source being baker's yeast, and so we assume it is safe. Yes, it is. We have a regulatory situation that is developing, but to give you some indication, we did the self-affirmed GRAS for US, so it is safe. We have presented our studies, and in Europe the product is also considered an ingredient. It doesn't follow into the folder of novel food, so safety is there for sure. Let me try to check the screen because the new questions are coming on top. So question about seasoning mixes, and again a question for Lynn. Is it possible to add Engevita HiPRO Beyond in a powder seasoning mix? It is thermostable.
Yes, it is. In fact, we have worked with some of our clients to work on a similar project to incorporate HiPRO Beyond as a seasoning for a high protein snack.
Thank you, Lynn. Very interesting. And then a question, I take it for me, it's a little bit of marketing, I guess, if it's there a specific meaning behind the name Engevita. So for us in L'Allemand Bioingredients, savory, but also health ingredients, Engevita regroup a range of products that are Saccharomyces cerevisiae based, premium product. The brand itself, it's in our portfolio since 1960. So we wanted to develop this product in the same range of Engevita because of its source, premium quality Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and going beyond with the protein content, you need to be aware. Generally speaking, Saccharomyces cerevisiae is a lively monocellular organism that is rich in protein by itself. So inactive yeast would have 40%, 40 to 45% protein. Normally, with Engevita HiPRO Beyond, we simply concentrate those protein, but the starting raw material is the same as baker's yeast. This is the reason for the name. Let me go up, and I hope not to miss any question. Okay, here we have a question, and I hope to understand it right, that the person is coming from Europe, because the question is related to declaration on packaging. So, but it would be the same in US or Canada. So the declaration on the label is yeast protein. And I hope this would be satisfying for you. We can maybe go a little bit deeper if you need to see like what is the status at the moment regarding launches globally, and what is the mention on the label. I did this search recently on Mintel, so I will be happy to share the information, but generally speaking, I see it always labeled as yeast protein, and this is also our recommendation from a regulatory point of view. I'm checking the list of questions. I hope to. Okay, we have new ones. Okay, Lynn, would it be fine if I send this question to you, or I can also answer? But it's regarding other protein sources. So vegetable proteins may contain anti-nutritional factors, but what does it mean? What the anti-nutritional factors are?
I think if maybe the question is regarding the PDCAS of some other vegetable proteins. If it is,
Yeah, as I interpret it, is maybe related to some vegetable protein pulses and others. They may contain lectins and other factors that indeed decrease the digestibility, and could be also related to some limiting amino acids in the essential pool of amino acids that will decrease the digestibility. But as the question comes in anonymous, again, if there is a need to go deeper, maybe as a follow-up, I would recommend either to send an email to the sales manager of your area, or to contact us at info@ or through the website. We will try to better understand the question and to answer completely to your doubts in a way. Yeah, we maybe have answered all the questions, but I will wait a little bit to see if there are more coming in. I'm scrolling in the meantime because the questions tend to go very quickly, but in bunches of questions.
There is a new one there, Sylvia, asking if it would work in every beverage.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I missed it as I was going down.
Okay. But Lynn, I think you can probably
I will
address
take
that
this one. I wouldn't say it would work in every beverages, because some beverages may be transparent, required to be clear, transparent. In those cases, our protein is highly dispersible but not soluble. So that could be a scenario that's limiting it. Every beverages, what are the I think it's hard for ingredient to say it works in every recipes, but I would say it works in most beverages, but not every beverages.
Yeah, I think you hit the key point where it's not soluble, right? So a high protein iced tea probably wouldn't work because it would be visible, but a high protein orange juice could, because that little bit of cloudiness that it will contribute would be lost there. So.
Yep. We have a new question that is regarding the forecast demand from a production standpoint, Europe versus North America. I think this is not an answer that I would give to a wide audience where we record the meeting and we potentially share it globally. What we can see, maybe not from our production perspective, but generally speaking, looking at how quickly the high protein claim is moving, or the launches with high protein food is shared globally. We see at the moment high demand in Europe and Asia Pacific, and I would say North America, Latin America are following for the new categories we were mentioning earlier. So it seems at the moment Europe, Asia Pacific are really pushing, and maybe it's also related to some government decisions to try to set up a healthier, I would say, nutrition for the population. So the light system that we see appearing in UK, in France, so this push for high protein, low sugar, low fat, this is really a catalyzing the demand for high protein food. And I hope this partially answered the question, but I would not go into our numbers. Sorry for that. Bob, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Really what I want to add was specifically some of the information, actually, Sylvia, that you shared with us as a team that was published on a trade website, just to your point about the launches. So a recent number, and again, this data is never perfect, but it's very interesting, that looked at the total global scene, and food and beverage launches with higher protein claims, 45% of them were in Europe. So the conversation is happening globally. What we're seeing is in the European market, product is going to market. So we don't necessarily, as Sylvia said, we don't necessarily know all the drivers, but the European market is definitely launching more items with higher protein claims at this moment in time. So that's sort of where we're seeing the commercialization level be higher. The projects are that much further advanced. And in general, again, painting with a very broad brush. Only 11% were in the US and Canada, and 10% in Latin America. So that 45% is a really big difference in the European market. We anticipate, when we're looking at it, we anticipate the North American and South American market to catch up, but that's just what we're seeing at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think the drivers may be different, but there is a movement in the US as well to bring population nutrition at a better level. So I think the protein and high quality protein will be part of it. And Lynn, a question for you on a different subject. Application, chocolate fillings. Have we tested Engevita HiPRO Beyond in those kind of applications?
I think so far we haven't tested it in this specific chocolate filling, but it could be something. If it could be a project, if it's we can work on it if it becomes a project.
Yeah, basically, we are able to collaborate with customer. We can do some trials on our own. We can support customers when they are looking for specific applications. So we will be happy to go further. Again, this question comes in anonymous, so I invite the person from the audience to reconnect after the event to check exactly what are the needs. For sure, what I can add is that being so neutral in taste, it's a good starting point. We have tested in some sweet applications. I know in Europe we are testing it on a custard. We had the very nice example of the high protein drink. So definitely an area where we can find beneficial Engevita HiPRO Beyond, also in the chocolate area or confectionery. Okay, so a question again, like we are in the area of beverages. It seems to be quite a hot subject. And Lynn, may you share your thoughts about maximal processable dosage rate of Engevita in beverage applications?
I think to give a maximum, it always depends on how your formulation it is right now. If it comes with flavors, if it comes with if the stabilizing system is enough to suspend all the solids in there. So I think it's hard to say what's the maximum, but as an example, we have given in this presentation that you can see in the protein shake, we can go as high as 13.5%, which is quite high.
Yeah, it's above the average of like products available today on the market. Thank you very much, Lynn. I think it's very interesting. As we wait for more questions maybe to come, Bob, would you like to wrap up and give some information regarding the company? Because we posted the event in LinkedIn and we expect some of the audience is coming from our customer base, but we can also have participants that are not so familiar with L'Allemand.
Of course. So this slide, again, which will be in the presentation deck, just gives you a very, very brief summary of who we are. We are a yeast manufacturing company. So our roots are in baker's yeast back in the origin of the company, and we've really developed and grown into multiple markets across so many different segments. The list is long and fascinating as to all the different places where yeast plays a role. We're a Canadian family-owned and operated company, so our head office is located in Canada, in Montreal, but we do have a global presence. So we have manufacturing facilities in Canada, the US, and throughout many locations in Europe, and that's just within our portfolio, being the savory team. When you go beyond that, we have manufacturing facilities that then expand into South Africa, South America. So we really do have quite a large global footprint, which is what we believe to be one of our greatest strengths, is that ability to cover much of the planet that way. The team, even just here on this call, is very globally based. So we really do believe in leveraging our global presence, not just geographically, but with our people. We think it gives us a very good insight into both the business market, but even the local market. Just on this call, you have Sylvia, who's based in Italy, Vilma based in France, and Lynn and I based in two different parts of Canada. So a conversation about what's readily available in grocery stores and what we're seeing when we're dining out, that all filters into the information that we try and share with our customers, and the perspective that we try and bring to the market. So as Sylvia mentioned, the contact information is here. Please don't hesitate to reach out. That info email is checked. It doesn't just go into a black hole. I know sometimes when you send emails to info@, you wonder if anyone ever sees it. Well, we can tell you that Vilma will get that email and make sure that it gets forwarded to the right person, and that we can then engage with you on this topic or any topic that could be interesting. So.
Right, thank you very much, Bob, for this summary. And also, as we don't have more questions, but let's take a couple of minutes just to remind the audience that the system will automatically share the recording of this specific event in a couple of hours. So you will receive an email from Teams organization with a link to listen to the recording again if some points were interesting for you. But you will also receive depending if you are, no, in any case, I would say tomorrow, the presentation deck, the slides, so you have time to reflect. And on the slides, there is also a QR code when we have application slides. Through the QR code, you will be directed to our website where we list the most recent recipes where we applied Engevita HiPRO Beyond, and the same kind of system will enable you to look at the recipes with all the ingredients of our portfolio. We can also apply them in blends. So I don't see more questions coming in. So I think it was a very interesting possibility for us to also to listen to our customer questions, what are their doubts, or in which areas they are thinking to develop. I would like to take these last minutes to thank you for your time, the interest, and also to say goodbye, and to allow also my colleagues to greet you before we conclude on this session.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. And if you have questions, don't hesitate.
Thank you again, and I hope you learned a lot about Engevita HiPRO Beyond, and we are there to keep replying to our questions if they can come in later.
Thank you very much. And with this, I will conclude the event. Goodbye. And samples, don't hesitate to ask. Huh?
Bye-bye, everyone.